Hello everyone, Timer over here, and welcome to the start of a new series for Transport Fever 2. Transport Fever 2 is a recently released game as of, I believe, December 11th is when it came out. It's developed by Urban Games and published by Good Shepherd Entertainment. And I do want to send out a thank you to Urban Games, the developer, for providing us a key to take a look at this game. If you're not familiar with Transport Fever 2, it is a sort of a transport management style game where you essentially take control of transportation across a procedurally generated map, and you sort of like have to get goods from one point A to point B and sort of build up your transport empire. You're essentially a transportation tycoon of some sort, and we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the gameplay here. So I've dabbled in the campaign. There is a campaign that's made up of a number of chapters with voiceovers, as you can generally see. I do have the music muted just because of the whole YouTube thing. I wasn't sure if it would get strikes or something, so I just typically try to mute music when playing a new game. But yes, there is a campaign mode. It has, I believe, a few chapters, maybe 3.
Mankind is constantly
back. Can't remember. I only did a few of them. They actually double as sort of the tutorial. The first couple chapters, I believe, do the tutorial. So I would recommend doing that. Plus, it has a nice little story and voiceovers, and it even has side quests and side missions, so to speak. So definitely check that out if you are new to the game and wanting to sort of learn it, because that's how I did it. In terms of settings and everything, we are going to be running on very high. As I said, I do have the volume tweaked a little bit here. Just in general, let me know in the comments below if it's a little loud or something like that. I usually do try to tweak them post recording as well, in case there is some craziness. But I am pre-recording these episodes that are going to be airing this week, mainly because it is a Christmas week and I am away and will be away for some time. So I've got a number of things recorded, and all of this week's videos will be pre-recorded as well. Controls are all here, interface, advanced, all good. But yeah, what we are going to do is we're going to be doing a free game. This basically lets us generate a brand new map. It's all procedurally generated, and go ahead. We've got a bunch of different areas with locations, manufacturers, resources that we can ship around. And it's not just a train game either. I mean, you're essentially doing all kinds of transportation. So I mean, we're going to be starting on the earliest setting, which is going to be like 1850. So we're going to have very limited in terms of our transportation. We're going to have train, and we're going to have horse and carriage. But you can get to sort of all different kinds of style of transportation, up to like airplanes and so on and so forth. So we'll see how far we get in this Let's Play, but we will we'll get there as we go. So yes, we can go ahead and create a new game. So we've got a couple options to tweak. We've also got a seed here that we can actually set. So if you do want to play on the same map, we can go ahead and set up a seed down the line. But yeah, let's go. I think so. We've got a couple biomes to work with here. I'm thinking, so there's this tropical area, and I did enjoy the tropical mission that I played. It was very nice, very tropical-y. But I think we're going to go with just a temperate zone. Just be sort of the basic setup here. In terms of hilliness, I think I'm just going to leave the default sort of in between, sort of the normal setup here. I think we're just going to go with. We can set a small map, medium map, a large map. I think we're going to go with a large, but even the small is pretty big in general. So if we take a look here, these areas are cities. So as you can see, the higher the map, or the larger the map, the more cities that appears on it. And then I believe all the yellow bits are sort of resource production areas. So maybe like a logging camp or something along those lines, a mine as opposed to a city. In terms of number of towns, again, we can tweak that. So we can put it at medium towns or very high, as well as sort of, control the actual production facilities as well. But I think I'm fine with leaving them on the default mediums. This option right here is actually rather interesting as well. It allows us to actually like change the ratio of the map, or the map format, I guess. So if we wanted to be sort of long and narrow, we could do that as well. And if we didn't want to sort of have it boxed equally, we could sort of do a more long-ish kind of way. But I think a 1-to-1 ratio is going to be just fine for our initial start here. So we're going to go ahead and hit next. We've got a couple more settings here. We can go ahead and do sort of like the preset of vehicles. We got Europe, USA, or the Americas, and we've got Asian style rails and transportation vehicles. We can tweak our starting year. We're just going to leave it at 1850. Difficulty, I'm just going to keep it at easy because this is really my first game in the freestyle mode here. So we'll see what we can do. If we do hit this custom, we can go into the settings and sort of tweak things even more. Say we wanted to do sort of like a temperate climate, but actually pick on, you know, I don't know, town names that are not American or English or something along those lines, another language. We can do that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click custom and go with the USA because that's where I'm from. So we're just going to go with that start as opposed to sort of tweaking the custom settings here and there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit the start button. It's going to take a little time to set up the map. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little pause in the video. When we come back, we'll have our map generated and ready to start our transportation empire. All right, and we are back. The map has loaded. We've got tips and all sorts of little things that pop up here. But yeah, we've got ourselves our map. So we can take a look at all the various locations on the map. It is quite lovely. We can zoom out fairly far. Yes, that is the max. And then we can sort of zoom in really closely. And then, yeah, we've got all these different areas. It's very lovely, actually, the actual map itself. I don't know, again, we're probably going to be a little bit more zoomed out in general, but it is kind of interesting to take a look at the overall scenery that we've got going for us. But let's zoom out. So the actual interface of the game and the controls are fairly straightforward, with one exception, in my opinion. So WASD moves us around the map pretty fluidly. It's kind of nice. We've got the sort of the, you know, going right and left, circling around. All that stuff can be done with Q and E, as well as our middle mouse button can sort of just change all different kinds of views. But this is a little, sometimes it's a little funky to do this with the middle mouse button. So you can go with R and F, also sort of like increases or decreases your sort of vertical view, and then yeah, Q and E sort of turns us left to right, where WASD sort of just moves the camera generally around the map like so. One control that is kind of a little goofy is the rotate button, which we'll see when we put down our first building, which is by default set to M and N, I believe. To rotate right and left, so it's a little out there, but you know, we can always remap it if it gets a little much, but we'll see. Anywho, we've got ourselves our map, and we got to decide where we're going to start and set up our sort of our initial money-making setup, because we only got $5 million, and that might sound like a lot, but it's not. And we'll take a look at most of the other sort of the controls and overlays and everything as we get to it. But for right now, what we're looking for is more or less just a spot that's going to be easily, you know, sort of exploited, I guess. So for example, and the way you want to look at these is, here we go. So each area either produces something or consumes something and then produces something else. So the main consumers are cities. So like we've got Akron here. Akron is looking for tools and bricks, both of which they don't actually produce. So we need to find some way to get Akron to actually, you know, supply them with those items that they need. And the way we do that is essentially we need to look around the map. We need to find a producer of bricks, and is it bricks or is that construction material or tools? So if we look around, now we could easily find that. Where is that? Vehicle stats, line stats, station statistics. There we go. I knew there was some place around here. So down here, we've got ourselves the industry statistics. And here we can actually sort of like sort by product. And we can see what they actually make. So we're looking for the tools. So we've got the McAllen Tool Factory, which is way down south. Over here, it's still a little far away. And then we've got another one way over there. Okay, that's not a good location because we've got a long area to go. I mean, that's not super far, I guess, ish. But what we really want is like an easy setup location. I mean, we've got that. If we had wood, because to make those tools we need actual planks, and to make the planks we need wood to be dropped off to make the planks. So that's not great. All right, we've got Austin down here. It's a little, it needs the same bits. I don't know. We may not have the best setup here. I'm trying to see just sort of a general good start location on this map. We've got someone here that's making food or grain. Is it food or grain? What is this? Grain. Okay. So they're making grain. I mean, does anyone want bread? Independence down here kind of needs bread. But we need to get the grain to some bread maker, like up here, which is not the best. Oof. This is kind of an awful start, actually. Unless I'm just completely missing it. Okay, so you need bread and you need fuel? Is that what that is? I think it's fuel. Yeah, fuel. So can we possibly get any fuel nearby? Well, actually, this isn't bad. We've got oil here, which we can take into the oil refinery there, which then can be routed up to the fuel refinery here and then into the city. We could probably do this with all one sort of line setup. So we might go with something like that. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be our start. Unfortunately, like none of the surrounding areas are, you know, sort of set up. How big is St. Louis? It's not bad. That's pretty good. 143, and it's growing right now. It's growing on its own to 145. So I think we're okay. If we take a look at the actual view here for the actual city, you can see that currently the residents are 143, but there's all these various modifiers that add to its target population. So right now the target population is 132, but it's increased by 10%, leaving us at 145. So this will ultimately grow to 145 currently. So that is good. But we can modify this by essentially providing it the resources that it currently wants, and by hooking it up to other destinations. So all of that we're going to look to do. And I think what we're going to do is focus on St. Louis, because I think it's probably the easiest, because it's generally, at least for fuel, there is fuel and all the requirements nearby. It is going to take a little bit of time to do that and a good bit of money, but I think we'll in the end be okay for it. All right, so what do we do? What do we want to do first? Well, the first thing I believe we're going to look to do is actually set up a line at the very start of the production chain, which is going to be the oil well. So we want to set up, now it is all connected by roads. St. Louis is connected by roads to all of these various areas. So we could, if we wanted to do all the transportation via ground, via streets, or sorry, streets, via ground vehicles. But we don't really want to do that, because it's going to be slow. We're in the 1850s right now, and you know, we don't have that much in terms of technology. We wouldn't have cars or trucks. All we would have are horse-drawn carriages. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to actually start with a proper train, because it's going to be just a lot quicker in general. So if we go down here, we've got our little button for rail. We've got tracks and we've got buildings. Under the buildings, we are going to be sorting by not passengers, but we're going to be sorting by cargo. We've got two types of cargo stations. We got a cargo station and a cargo terminus station. The difference between the two is that the cargo station here has two ends. So you can sort of like loop around if you want. On both ends have tracks. The terminus one only has one rail entry. So it's sort of like the end of the line kind of thing. You can't connect to the rear end of it, so to speak. I believe, I think they're about the same cost. I mean, it's hard right now because can't really get them in the same location. Yeah, I believe they're about the same cost. So I'm going to just go with a terminus one because we don't really need, a huge bit. So where do we want to put this? I kind of want it over here. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to go with the actual cargo station because it's not really conducive right now. Can I get this to, well, not really. Doesn't look all that great. So yeah, we're going to rotate with M and A or MNN here to rotate. It's a little awkward, but I think it's working out for us ultimately. Can I get, you know what? Maybe I will do this. What is over here? Well, there are more resources in this city. Okay, you know what? We are going to go with the cargo station because we may want to continue this line eventually. Oh, and I was actually just adding to the cost because I was increasing and lowering the ground. All right, M to turn around. There we go. So what we do is we look for the road and we get the sort of the terminal there right connected to it. And when it lights up like it is currently, that means it's being covered. So right here it's being covered, but if we went sort of down here and it's not. So you have to get it close enough that the coverage actually lights up. So let's go ahead and throw that down. It's going to cost us almost 200 grand. Not bad. But we want to get this stuff over here. Now, we could do this one of two ways. We could hook up a train station at each one of these locations. Or we could just say, do it at, oh, wait, I wanted to go down here. Or we could actually do transportation, ground transportation to some of the closer bits. I think what I'm going to do is actually set up train stations here and here. But then up here, I may not rely on rail for this last bit. I mean, ultimately, we're going to want a railroad up here. But I think just to try to, cover our buns in terms of cost, we may not do it right away. All right, so let's go ahead and set this one up. Now, where am I going to be coming in? Probably, you know what? I probably want this to be over here. Yeah, I think I like that a lot better. And then we're going to set up a station up in this area, I think. You are lit up. Oh, it would be nice if I could get both station and production here. Or sorry, both production and city. But unfortunately, that is not going to happen right away. I think here I'm just going to do a terminus station as opposed to a regular station. I think that's going to be ultimately our win. Go, come on, get in there. Give me it. There we go. Okay. And then what we'll probably end up doing is branching off some tracks at some point. Okay, so now that we've got these beginning stations, what we're going to want to do is actually hook them up. So let's take a look at some of the overlays, because we've got this ginormous mountain here. That's going to cover some crazy cost, and we don't want to do too much. But there's a number of data overlays here that will give you some info on the general map. The first one here is the contour lines map. It will make it a little easier to see sort of the flat ground, and that's really where we want to stay more or less, mainly because of the sheer amount of cost. So like that's $1.3 million because we're building tunnels under mountains. So that's not really what we're looking for. But if we go... can we get something? Yeah, see, that jacks up the cost. There's this little tiny sliver of space here that's current, and it's currently taken up by the freaking road. I'm wondering. Let's get out of this. I'm wondering if we remove this road. Is that going to be crazy? Main connection will be interrupted. And then rebuild the road. I don't know if we go down to here into the ground vehicle or road vehicles. We've got Main Street. What is this? Is that a dirt road? Small country road. The roads are pretty cheap. I'm wondering if we can get... Let's see. How much would it be? Yeah, see, I don't kind of want to do that. How? Yeah, that's kind of expensive. I don't know if it's going to really save us any money in the long run. I mean, roads are a little bit more tameable, I guess. But if I could possibly... 35,000. Okay, let's see. Ooh, that slope. So the numbers you see there, the 120, you want to try to keep it around 120. And the main reason is that denotes the speed of the locomotive. So the higher that number is better. Let's go here. Where am I going again? I think we're going to be fine. Let's get... Ooh, somewhere that takes a huge jump in cost. Might just be the length. Alright, we're going to go that way. Yeah, see, those bends, very bad. Very bad. So we want to try to limit the speed decreases. Alright, we'll go with something like that. And now these two locations are set up. Not quite. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's see if we can avoid... Let's see if we can avoid that. Get rid of you. There we go. I think we did pretty well. It's a little wonky there, but hey, it works out for the better. All right, so we've got those two connections set up. Now we need to actually set up this connection over here. And again, we're going to go to this overlay just to make sure. Yeah, I think if we go, we might have to tunnel unless we can sort of weave this in over here. 53. Yeah, see, it pops up to let you know, hey, you are in a bridge situation. This area is going to be a little rough going, at least speed-wise, because of the changes that we've got going for us. But overall, we've got 120 pretty much up till here, and then we go around this bend, which is going to be a little slow going, but then we've got a straightaway, so we should be okay. Yeah, look at that. It's like I planned it that way. It's not the, you know, it's going with the ground and they're leveling, so we should be okay. All right. So now that we've got our track laid, we've got 3.3 million bucks left. It's a little, I don't know, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough, I'll let me tell you. We're going to probably have to use one train to sort of do all of our initial deliveries, just because of, you know, the cost. Trains and locomotives in general, as well as their cars, are pretty expensive. Okay, so we've got our initial platforms here. We will now go ahead and throw down a depot, because in order to get our train, we need the depot. Now, we can put this wherever we want. As long as it has access to our current train tracks, we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and start it over here just because, you know, we want it to get here quicker. So let's go ahead and do that. Go over here, back to the rails, and get our standard track. And then see if we can... I might have done goofed. Okay. Can we move? I don't think we can. Ugh. Gonna eat the cost on that. All right, let's put it a little farther away. How about right here? Be a little bit closer. But yeah, wow. It wasn't that much. It's only money. We can always take out a loan if need be. Let's put it a little further back. Tracks. Go ahead and group that up. And then go and group that up. That should be connected. Yes. Okay. So we are connected. So now that we've got our depot, we can go ahead and get our first vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and find the actual train depot. We can click on that. Alternatively, we could go ahead and just click on vehicle manager here and then locate our actual train depot. And we can then click buy vehicles. And we've got all of these options on the left-hand side to sort of filter what we actually want. We can also search for specific vehicles if we are familiar with them. I'm not, so I'm not going to search for them. But we should have a very thin, it's going to be slim pickings early on since we are in 1850. So the only train we currently have is the Baldwin 6 wheel. It can go a top speed of 40 kilometers per hour. And we've got a number of things. Loading speed, nah. Traction, yeah. I mean, it's our only choice, so obviously we are going to do that. We're going to add that to our setup. Costs about 300 grand, not bad. Over here, we want wagons, so we're not doing passengers, so we're going to look at the cargo possibilities. So, we're doing oil. And yes, so this train is going to be able to do all the steps of this current setup because each one of these cargo wagons carries different things. And sometimes you can get into a situation where your ultimate production line it needs to be two different trains because you got a discrepancy with what one cargo thing can carry. So like this may not be able to carry bread or something. But the bread needs the grain and so on and so forth. So, but luckily we just need our tank cars. So yeah, I'm going to try to do as much as I possibly can before. See, then we're getting into this situation where it's poor. Not enough power. So we're going to just trim this back till we get to good. Ugh. Oh my gosh. All right. We're not going to do that. We're going to do mediocre. I think it should be okay. Mediocre capacity 42. Well, let me take a look at something here. So if we look at the actual production chain. So yeah, for every one oil, this is going to take 2 barrels of oil. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, so if we look back at the buy vehicles here. Oh, it didn't save. Okay, so if we take a look at the vehicles, we go back to tank car and we add up here. So this has 42 capacity. We'll be able to carry 42 of those, which accounts for about 21 oil-ish. So, I mean, ultimately, this line is going to be the most. All right, let's do this. Let's do 49. Well, how much is one more? Yeah, then we get into poor. Okay, we want to stay in mediocre. And then we can go ahead and just buy that. All right, so now we've got that one vehicle, but we need an actual line setup. We currently don't have that set up. So we're going to do a new line. Ideally we have multiple trains going to various different places, but we don't have time for that, or we don't have the money for that. We're going to go with a line here. We're going to click to add the station. Oops, sorry. There we go. And we're going to start here at New Orleans. We're going to run down here, click on that New Orleans North, and swing around. Where's the other train station? Here. Boom, St. Louis. So this basically one train is going to run all of these all of these resources, one right after the other, and then he's going to return to New Orleans and be good. For the time being, I'm going to name this barrels to oil to fuel. We'll probably edit this line eventually once we get a second train. But for now, I think that is going to be a-okay. All right, so we are finally ready to unpause. And our train should be leaving. Oh, no, it isn't, because I haven't actually assigned it to anything yet. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, and then we're going to assign it to barrels of oil and so on and so forth. And there we go. Look at that. And we got ourselves an achievement. Lovely. All right, so we are on fast speed here, and there goes our train. Itty bitty train. So every time there are ticks, so this thing is going to start losing 20,000 per tick. I don't know what's the actual timeline here. So if we take a look here, we can actually ride the rails or just follow it. Go ahead and follow it for now. But yeah, it's upkeep. As you can see, we are losing money on this train. But that's because it has not actually made any deliveries yet, unfortunately. That's part of why I wanted to get this depot closer to this area, but there's just not much room over here. Not much room. I could have probably set it up over here and then sort of like, you know, had it feed into the system that way. But ultimately, we're going to probably appreciate this because, you know, having it sort of midway through our initial line is going to be ideal, I feel. Okay, so this guy is going to pick up our stuff. Hooray, more achievements. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get rid of those. Now he's going to head to his next stop and drop everything off there. So you're carrying 49. So we should be getting around 24 barrels of oil or 24 gallons of oil or whatever the heck you would call it in order to take everything up here. So once we get the shipment up here, we're going to need to have something set up in order to get the freight into St. Louis. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up a ground-based delivery system since we're so close. So in order to do that, what we need is a truck station. So if we go down to ground, we're going to go to buildings, and we're going to go to a truck stations because the trucks deliver the resources to our facilities here. So as you can see, it's a little rough because we're not going to be hitting all of the facilities. Because we're not getting these back ones. See, once again, everything that's lining up or lighting up is going to actually provide, is what this actually is going to be covering. So if we go up here, yeah, once again, it's not really hitting these back areas. Now, we could probably build a road. You know what? Let's see what we can do here. If we grab a small street. 419,000, not bad. We are turning a profit now. Fantastic. But if we take a look here and we put in a street... Oh, you're coming... Oh, mother trucker. All right, let's go ahead and drop our building before another one of those things come into play. Because we do want the city to grow. But we want to actually supply this place with what we're doing here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and connect up over here just to see if we can actually supply this area. Look at that. And now we are supplying everything. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got our truck stop here. In order to pick up the goods, we need the actual truck stop over here as well. So let's put in a truck stop right here. Let's turn you around. Throw you down there. And here come the actual oil. So not bad. That's a little low. A little low. That's just because of we didn't have enough built up over here. Just out of curiosity, how much is over here? Yeah, we only have one stored over here. We really want to just bring a ton of the base material. But, I mean, for right now, it's okay. All right, so we've got this. We've got a few things in here, right? I'm thinking that because we... Yeah, it's not storing them because we haven't actually set up any routes yet. So we kind of missed the boat on that. But let's go ahead and set up a new route. We are going to do a new line. We're going to take this here and go over there. And you are going to be a road depot. So we need to buy and sell trucks, which are currently literally just horse and buggy. Or horse and carriage, I guess. So we'll do that. We'll go here. We're going to buy vehicles. Cargo-wise, we've just got the horse-drawn carriage. So I'm going to buy, let's say 4 for right now. And you are going to go on to line 1. And so now they'll sit here and wait. I'm going to go ahead and tell these things. New line 1. Oh my. If I go here, where was that? Do not configure. I mean, we can add to those things, but not much. Okay. I mean, they're not really picking anything up at the moment. Unfortunately, just because we missed the boat. Had I gotten that set up before the actual train got here, we would have been fine. But overall, not too bad. So we're in under $1 million right now, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think what we're going to want to do is set up an actual better train here. Because we're not getting a full load out of this. It might be worth our effort next episode to actually get additional cars on here. Wow, you are having a hard time going there. That's 7 kilometers, 8 kilometers. Interesting. Now, see, I'm not sure. Yeah, this locomotive is really bad. This is essentially what it comes down to. Because this, I mean, it's like 7 kilometers an hour there. Even though it shouldn't really have a speed penalty at all. And as you can see, we are losing money quite extensively. I mean, we gained 400,000 with a delivery of oil, but not much more. Perhaps what we should have done was just set up the raw oil here, as opposed to setting everything else up. That's probably the better route to have taken. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll put in a cut here. And next episode, I think what I'm going to do is actually set up, take a loan out and set up an additional line to go from here up to here. So we'll have 2 trains. This one's going to be less, at least for right now. Less cars, just because we won't need that many cars. Ooh, see, you didn't actually pick up very much, did you? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, you're not actually bringing a full load. So yeah, we're going to have to do something about that. But I've gone on way too long already. We're going to go ahead and put a cut in the video. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. If you are, let me know by hitting that like button. If you want to see more content, as always, I strongly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.